Southampton versus Leicester City.
It's another Friday night match, Ian. Southampton aren't playing for a lot, but they're a really high-pressing side, much like Leicester City. Leicester would like to gun down Man United in second place, but they're probably not going to do it. They look secured in the Champions League. Do you see this one lighting up the league or not?
I don't see this game lighting up the league, because if anything, like their FA Cup semi-final, it'll be pretty dull and boring. Both sides kind of seem to cancel each other out, and it just came down to Leicester being a better version of Southampton, which got the winner done. I mean, Iheanacho's in great form. I see him carrying on his good goal-scoring form here. Southampton are a bit checked out really now. There's not a lot of fight left in them, and I think if Leicester can get an early goal in this, although Leicester are kind of battling their way back from defeats, it seems to be in most of the games they play. I think if Leicester can get an early goal, they'll kill this Southampton threat off. And I'm going to just get my scoring quick. I'm going to say I think it's going to be a 2-0 Leicester City win.
Can't believe it. We're copying you straight off the bat. 2-0 to Leicester City. Burnley versus West Ham United.
So Burnley can celebrate because they've pretty much sewn another season up of staying in the Premier League with a really good result. And Chris Wood is a hero of Burnley, paraded round the streets, and quite rightly so. West Ham are the ones that need the win more. They need to sort of carry on this Champions League fight. They didn't do so well last time out against Chelsea, although it was quite a tight game. They just came out the wrong side of it. But I'm not 100% sure West Ham are going to get the result here. That they looked a little tired. They looked a little jaded. They looked like they're lacking their focal point with no striker. I'm starting to kind of wonder if it was the best move now, even though he wasn't great. Getting rid of Haller at Christmas time has kind of left them in a bit of a hole. Now Antonio's injured. And unless kind of Jesse carries on his good form, Jesse the cowgirl, I can see it being a draw. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really tight game, although I wonder how much Burnley are going to be in this. That was a huge win for them, 4-0 over the weekend. They're not really playing for anything. They look pretty much safe at this point. They pushed themselves up to 14th in the league. They're 9 points clear of relegation with 5 matches to play. And I just wonder if that was what they needed. They pushed themselves over the line. And I got to be honest, in Jesse we trust. 1-0 to West Ham United.
Well, of course, I would hope you're always being honest and not just with that one statement. But I'm going for a draw. I'm going to back the Clarets to get something. 1-1 draw. But it's West Ham involved, so it'll probably be more likely to be 3-3. But I'm going 1.
With West Ham 3-1 up with 7 minutes to play.
Yeah. Chelsea FC versus Fulham FC.
It's the battle of the FCs. It's the battle of the London clubs. Also, if I'm not completely mistaken, Fulham's ground technically resides in Chelsea. Chelsea's ground technically resides in Fulham. It is all an absolute mess down there in London. But it's a really big game for both sides. Fulham need the points. They got a draw last week out. They are now 7 points off safety. Everyone above them is looking pretty. But Chelsea, Ian, they're 3 points clear in 4th. They're in the Champions League semi-finals. I think they're going to grind out a victory here. What do you think?
Yeah, you would think so. It's probably the worst team Fulham could possibly play because they know Chelsea aren't going to come and be particularly open or expansive. They're just going to be hard to beat. And I don't see the likes of, your Fulham forward line really causing a lot of trouble to this Chelsea defence, even if you play a target man in Mitrovic, I think they'll handle that quite well. Even if you've got the pacey players out there, I think they'll handle that relatively easily too. The only thing Fulham will be hanging their hat on is if Chelsea might rest a few players with the Champions League coming up, but Chelsea's backup line is still more than good enough to get something in here. I think that I know you're probably going to go with 1 goal only, so I'll just go something different. I'll go for a 2-1 Chelsea win.
Excellent. I'm really glad that you went with 2-1 because I am going with the tried and tested 2-0 to Chelsea in this game.
I thought you were going to go 1-0 because that's what kind of won it for me last week. But I think 2-0 to Chelsea.
Break the trend. Beach-bound Crystal Palace to play Champions League semi-finalist Manchester City.
Almost Premier League beach-bound Manchester City.
Yeah.
They the all-conquering, all-singing, all-dancing, certainly when it comes to the Carabao Cup, Manchester City, unbeatable in that tournament. And What is it? I think, 2 wins away now till they win the league, is it? Or 3 wins?
Something like ridiculous. 10 points, clear.
Palace are weird, and you never know when they throw in good performances and good results, and they've got previous against Man City, and I don't think even anyone saw them taking the lead against Leicester, let alone being quite stubborn resistance in that game. So I think it'll be harder for City than people think, and I think they'll obviously have, like what we said with Chelsea, they'll have one eye on the Champions League. I'll let you go first, but I can't see you going for anything other than a Man City win, Thomas.
Yeah, the thing I started to realize about Man City is as much as they don't have a striker, they have like 18 center attacking midfielders, and half of them can also play as wingers. So no matter what, they have 20 to 30 efforts on goal every match, and I just can't see Palace holding out against that, which obviously means Palace will win this 1-0, but I can't possibly predict that because it's insanity. So 2-0 Man City.
It's it, isn't it? It's just like it is. They are so reliant on Zaha, and I know we've said it all the way through the season, but it is just weird how he has been like the one man that's like kept them up almost for the obviously other than Roy Hodgson for the last 3 seasons. Yeah. What's going to happen, Palace fans, if Roy leaves, if Zaha leaves? What is going to happen to your beloved Eagles? But it's a conversation for another time. I'm going to go for Manchester City to win by 1-0.
Okay, Ian, now it's my honor to thank everybody who's follows on Patreon. If you do enjoy the channel, please check us out on Patreon. The details are here on the screen and down below. I just need to thank David Stenhouse, Matt Lombardi, PJ Simpson, Matthew Bowden, Robert Allen, and Matt Uranko of Grandstand Bettors for their support. It means the world. It's the only reason that Ian hasn't run away to Sky Sports yet. Thank you. Everton versus Aston Villa.
Well, Everton kind of got a win where, well, it was a good win, but they didn't really deserve it. They got a bit of luck, let's be fair, but it's kept them in the hunt for a Champions League place. But I just don't see either one of these sides doing anything special. I see this almost being the worst game of the weekend, really. I think that both sides are pretty dull. Both sides don't offer a lot. What do you think?
I've watched Villa way too many times in the last couple months where without Jack Grealish, the entire team looks wayward, and they weren't great in their last match. They got really lucky with a goal near the end to save their blushes, but they don't offer anything, and Ross Barkley outside of the first month of the season is doing absolutely nothing. And everyone else seems to be waiting for like a good through ball to be played or some sort of attacking. No one is taking the game. Everton look insanely boring. It looks like Carlo knows the season's over. Most of the players know the season's over. Like, they cannot keep pace with the Chelseas, Liverpools, and the Spurs above them. That being said, I can't back Villa. Every time I back Villa, they do badly. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 Toffees victory.
Yeah, everything just seems very laboured with Everton, doesn't it? I mean, like, Richarlison's still got like a little bit of quality about him, but it's without Calvert-Lewin. We kind of thought James would tail off a little bit first season in the Premier League, and he has. So it's just kind of like two teams with pretty industrious, decent players without a lot of quality on show. So normally I would go in Ancelotti we trust, but I think Villa will nick something here. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for another 1-1 draw.
Yeah, if you'd gone with 2-2 I'd have thought you were.
Well, it would have kind of gone against the narrative of dull games, so I kind of forced my own hand there.
Yeah.
5-5. No. Newcastle United versus Arsenal.
Another game I see as being incredibly boring. It's like we're tailing to the end of the year. Fulham are 9 points. Oh, sorry, Fulham. Newcastle are 9 points clear of Fulham. Arsenal, with a ridiculous loss in their last match with a Bernd Leno own goal, has pretty much consigned them to no European football next year unless they magically win the Europa League. They're lucky. The kids are playing, and I always say that when the kids are playing, they play better. But this match, Arsenal, garbage. Newcastle, garbage. Can you convince me of anything other than a 0-0 draw, Ian?
Well, Newcastle are in pretty good form, and normally I would back Arsenal, but I actually think that I do think Newcastle will get something out of this. They're actually playing really well. I thought they played well against Liverpool. They were unlucky with the first goal that was disallowed, and thank God the referee played enough time for Willett to score that equaliser. And any time a side can take points off Liverpool, you get a little gold star in the VBO archive. So well done, Steve Bruce and Newcastle on that one. Look, if Arteta's not got all his eggs in the Europa League basket, then he's a fool, because it is their only route to glory. It's 3 games theoretically away from getting in the Champions League and winning a trophy. They have been a better cup side under him than the league side. So I would expect him to, if he plays any of the senior players in this one, then I think he's absolutely foolish, because the league means nothing to Arsenal at this stage. Therefore, I can't. I put myself into a corner now, haven't I? I put myself into a corner.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
1-0 Newcastle. You've talked me into it.
There we go. So that'll be your bit of excitement. Look, Newcastle should go and win this game or get something out of it. But because Arsenal's backup side is probably like Arsenal's first 11 is the best team in the world. Their second 11 is like the second best team in the world. So you're still more than good enough to get something from this Newcastle side. I have to back Arsenal to get something. 2-1 to the Gunners.
Oh, you're a fool. A fool, Ian Allen. But that leads us in to the fools from the South Coast, Brighton and Hove Albion versus Leeds United.
Another game. I don't know what to expect here. Leeds have all of a sudden turned into quite a good defensive unit. Brighton, we know, pretty easy on the eye, but don't score, but generally quite a decent defensive unit. So from a game a few weeks ago I would have thought could have been like 3-5 to Leeds, I'm starting to think it might be a 0-0 draw. And in fact, bugger it, I'm going to put that 0-0.
Yeah, this weird thing seems to happen with Leeds where every now and then they lose a game and then they just close up shop at the back. And I know you spoke to me about how the last match, Leeds versus Manchester, was actually quite open and was flowing, just kind of lacked the goal. I think Leeds are ready for the end of the year. They do tend to end seasons a little bit under Bielsa, being quite tired. I'm sorry, Leeds fans, if you're mad at me. You did really well last year, but again, the break does kind of help. And you play such an insanely high pressing style of football. That being said, Brighton is a garbage shit show. Shit show. 2-0 to Leeds.
It could be, I'm thinking it could be the most entertaining 0-0 draw of all time, though, with like the woodwork being struck like 7 times.
Neil Maupay continually shooting from anywhere he picks up the ball.
Yeah, but let's remember, Brighton, they lost to Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Do we need to say any more?
Yeah.
Tottenham Hotspur versus Sheffield United.
Well, that insanely fantastic move by the Spurs brass to fire Jose Mourinho right before a cup final paid off. They won it. Oh. So Spurs are an absolute shit show as well. They currently sit in 7th in the league. They don't look like they're going to get Champions League football. They're now 5 points behind Chelsea. And I'm going to be honest, they're playing incredibly boring football. Unless Harry Kane decides to win the match for them, they get nothing. But they are coming up against the Sheffield United side that until last week were the beach, Ian.
Oh, they're not even on the beach. They're not even in that happy of a place to say they're on the beach. They're just, I don't know, they're in limbo between
Aberdeen?
In purgatory between existences at the moment, in a dreamlike state until the championship starts next season. But they did get a 1-0 win. But this is the narrative on this one's all going to be about Tottenham, and I've got to have a little rant here because Tottenham Hotspur, in a year where you had Jose Mourinho in charge, where you thought you might be challenging for the title, in a year where Arsenal have been atrociously bad, you somehow find yourself to be more of a laughing stock than them. I don't know how you've managed to do it. The decision to get rid of Mourinho is baffling. It must come down to just purely money, is why Levy's done it, because why you would get rid of a tactical genius on the cusp of a cup final is just beyond me. And to throw Ryan Mason to the wolves like that is like not really, I want to say unfair on him, but pretty hard for him to overcome City in only his second game of management. That being said, Ryan Mason, Will you get another chance to manage in a cup final? Probably not.
No.
So why did you set your team out to play so negatively to the fact where even if you like your tactics, you still should have been 3-0 down at halftime. You were so bad in that cup final. It was a joke. Look, honestly, and this is me and you have seen Oxford play against Manchester City and give them more of a game than Spurs gave them in that cup final. If Brentford would have got through, they would have given Man City more of a game than you in this cup final. It was an appalling result. You should be ashamed of yourself. And just because you're a new manager doesn't excuse you from those piss poor tactics. So I don't care. I don't care if Sheffield United are atrocious. I can't back Spurs in this one. 2-0 to the Blades.
My heart tells me Sheffield will win. My head tells me Spurs will win.
Which Sheffield?
The Blades. 1-0 United.
West Bromwich Albion versus Wolverhampton Wanderers.
They were so close, Ian. They were so close. They were minutes away. They'd have been equal on points with Fulham. It was there. Sam Allardyce smelt blood. His team were finally doing what he wanted. And then the most hilarious mix-up in front of goal I think I might have seen this season happen. I mean, really what the fuck was... It didn't even make sense. It was like everyone just stopped for 10 seconds and went like, no. Tea break? It was nuts. And I know we're trying to concentrate on these matches and the kind of what they are, but that epitomized West Brom's season. They were there. It was the chance to get close enough. They blew it. I have no time for this side whatsoever. Wolves were fucking dire against Burnley. I mean, holy shit. Do you know how to defend? Have you considered defending just as a job? Chris Wood scored a hat-trick against you. Both these teams deserve to be slapped in the face and just told to sack off the rest of the season, because clearly they've got no interest in the rest of it. The only reason I'm predicting a Wolves victory in this is that West Brom are garbage. Your thoughts?
I don't think West Brom have been that garbage over the last few weeks. I think they've been all right. The resurgence has come too late, but they're actually playing all right. I thought they played okay football against Villa. They deserved to beat them, I thought. Obviously, you've talked about the terrible mistake. And if they'd have won that game, it's all ifs, buts and maybes, they'd have come up against a Wolves side who look appalling, probably look the worst they've looked under Nuno maybe ever, and they'd have really fancied their chance to get another win. It all probably would have been too little too late, but it was good momentum nonetheless. I actually think West Brom are going to get a win here, and I'm mad for back. It might be the first time I've ever backed them all season. But Wolves just did nothing to show me that they're going to offer anything for the remaining games. Probably Nuno's going to give them a kick in and they'll get a reaction in this one. And because they can't be any worse than what they were against
awful
Burnley, because they were appalling, and they never even got going at any point. And so I will back West Brom. I think Allardyce will grind out another win here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Brom win.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 to Wolves, but this is just ugh.
Yeah. Quite possibly, other than Oxford versus Swindon, this may be the biggest club game in world football. It's time for the main event.
In the bright red corner sits Manchester United, playing host to the slightly darker red colour of Liverpool FC.
This game means a hell of a lot more to Liverpool at the moment than it does to Manchester United. Not for bragging rights, for pure league position. But to hear from the Red Devils' point of view is the resident expert Manchester United fan, Thomas Pickering.
I'm not interested in complaining. It's going to be a first for me. I'm not interested in anything to do with any of the previous games, the Europa League semi-final, which is actually quite tough that they're going to be playing the week before. I'm interested in Man United's record against the said top six this season, where they've drawn 2. No, they've drawn like 8 and lost 2. This side have no interest in giving points away this season to the rest of the top 6. They are going to play as tight as humanly possible. They're going to refuse to attack unless Bruno Fernandes is feeling it at any point. We are in for one of the most boring Man United versus Liverpool matches in recorded history. Liverpool are going to crash like waves on the United shore, but there's so much sand that you just can't wash it all away fast enough. It is going to be a terrible match of football. I'm done predicting any of these big games involving Man United to have any goals, because it doesn't. They never do. They're terrible. 0-0.
There we have it, folks. From a show where it's called Premier League Predictions, it's really good that one of the hosts says, I'm done with predictions. But hey ho, we do go on to this one. Look, if Solskjaer plays his first team, he's foolish, because he's got a bloody, unless they've absolutely creamed Roma in the first leg, and then he can do. But in more likelihood that game will be in the balance. But knowing Solskjaer, he will play his strongest 11 in this game, because he never seems to believe in rest for anybody, any of his players.
Except Fred. Fred has to play every other game. We got to just sit Scott McTominay down. He's too young to play as many matches as he does.
Oh, it's the Phil Foden thing, isn't it? All over again. He's too young to play. Liverpool really need this. They needed to get Champions League. They blew it against Newcastle. It was a game they should have won 3 times over, like we've said a lot of times this season, but they just can't score many goals in a game to kill sides off, and they got sucker punched at the end of the match. But they have to win this game. They have to come to Old Trafford and they have to win this game. Manchester United have been, compared to their away record, they've been relatively poor at Old Trafford, and Liverpool will be hoping it's a rare day where their strikers come to the party. Defensively, they do look all right now, Liverpool. They're not shipping the stupid goals they were. But the strike force has got to chip in with goals. And I think just because of the need of the Scousers, Thomas, you're going to hate me, but I am going to be back in Liverpool in this one. I think it will be Manchester United 1, Liverpool 2.
As you know, Ian, we're not allowed to show weakness on this channel, and I have just shown weakness. Just out of interest, do I need to give penance for my weakness, or can I get away with it this one time?
I didn't even notice it, so if you wouldn't have said anything, I wouldn't have noticed. But yeah, okay, you get 1. Everybody gets 1.
Thank God for that, because I didn't even realize I'd done it, and I gave my score prediction, so I have no idea how to drive that car back.
Make sure you check out League One predictions, where I'll be back in Shrewsbury to beat Oxford 5-0.
And with that being said, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this, please smash the like button, hit subscribe, tell your friends and family about it. Predictions and comments down below. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell Ian why he's right. And we will catch you tomorrow for a live stream at 3 o'clock of Oxford United versus Shrewsbury Town.